We will start on time, but we'll save the best stuff for when everybody actually arrives. Uh, who's got some good news or a brag that would encourage the group? I know I've already got a bunch of emails. There's a bunch of people out for weird stuff today. Kelly's at her old school. Somebody got invited to teach something else somewhere, but those of us that are here, we're going to run hard. So who's got a brag? Let's hear it. Don't be shy. Big brags, little brags. We need lots of brags. Go ahead, Jeff.
All right. I met this lady online, probably a Craigslist lead in 2013.
Okay.
And we looked at houses for a while and talked about selling theirs. Never really happened because her husband didn't want to move. And he passed away about a year ago. And so she decided to move into independent living and we closed on it Monday.
How about that?
Follow up works.
12 years later.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Used to get a ton of Craigslist leads, man. That was a
Oh,
different
yeah.
time.
Yep.
That was a different time. Knuckleball. Okay. Who else has a brag? Let's hear it. Big brag, little brag, personal brag, business brag. Go ahead, Ed.
So I had a referral come in last week, and there was a buyer in the area, and he had started out by telling me that he had spoken to another agent, and the other agent was willing to give him 50% of their commission back at closing costs.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, I probably would have caved. Uh, Last year or probably even earlier this year or even in the situation now I probably would have, but with all the training and with all this going on, I finally said, that's really good, that the agent wants to give you that, but what are you getting from that agent? And then I said, here's what I provide to you. And I spent about 25 minutes explaining the whole buying process. And I says, to be honest with you, I can't discount. I charge 3%. Sometimes I think I should charge more, but I charge 3%. That's my, I guess I wasn't supposed to say that, and that's my, that's just my fee, and you get what you pay for. And then I asked him, I said, let me ask you this. If you were arrested for murder and you're innocent, would you hire the cheapest lawyer you could find to get you off, or would you find the best lawyer out there that is a specialist in your situation? And I just stopped and waited for him. He says, well, I would hire the best attorney. And I said, let me ask you this. Now that you hired that attorney, would you go back and say, hey, would you discount your fees for me? Because this other attorney said they would discount their fees. And I said, if they agreed to discount your fees, how much service would they also discount with that? And he says, yeah, you got a good point. I never thought of it that way. And then he says, what's our next step? And I said, well, the next step is, oh, he says, what's our next step? He says, this other agent sent over a buyer's agreement, but I haven't signed it yet. And I don't plan on it. And I said, well, I don't work that way. I like to meet the people face to face. And so if you want to continue on with me, we need to set up a buyer's meeting, and let's see if we can work together. And so we set up. We've got a meeting next week. We're going to meet over at his house and see where that goes. But I just got to the point where it's like, you know what? I'm not going to do that anymore. If they want to work with them, then
Yeah. I mean,
that,
obviously, you survived round one. I think you'll get it and you'll be fine. We can keep improving that process, but you are taking those initial steps to believe in your own value, stand firm in communicating your value, and you're going to get your value. And that only has to happen once, full circle, before it is very hard to ever go back and disrespect your own value and backslide into that slimy, borderline self-loathing. Like, I'm so mad at myself that I did this, and this whole transaction's driving me like, we're just not doing that anymore. So not only is it a huge win to say no, to communicate in a way that they still want to meet. And I'm sure you'll get it. And I'm sure you'll close it and you'll make your full fee. But really the self-confidence, and not like woo-woo self-image, like the belief that I am worth it. I have
Yeah.
proven it. And now I'm only going to build on that. So just for everybody's safety here, all commissions are negotiable, not set by law. Nobody's telling anybody what to charge. That was just an example. But I love it. Way to go, Ed.
Yeah,
Most of us have been there, that first time over the hump of going, you know what? No.
that's how I felt too. It's like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. And most of the time, those type of clients are the biggest pain in the butts, is what I've noticed.
Yep. No doubt about it. Well done. Nice work. Awesome. Who else has a brag?
I'll go.
Okay.
We have some pretty big win this week. I closed and funded yesterday on my listing that I had the seller and I found the buyer for. And both the buyers and the seller gave me some awesome reviews. And then on another listing, we also have the buyers as well. And my husband is just signed his first buyer this week, had his buyer consult and a house under contract. So that's a big step.
Yeah.
And then from that, we get another listing because they're going to buy and then they're going to list their other home. So it's
Sweet.
a lot of big wins for me.
Yeah. Way to go. Yeah. If we had time to break all that down, we could talk about the layers of wins outside just those transactions. But good stuff. Couple more. Who's got a brag? Personal, professional, implementation, transactions, dollars, impact. Who else has a brag?
We have a couple. The neighborhood where we sold a house, picked up a listing and buyer from the open house in the same neighborhood. We closed that one. And then we've picked up 2 additional neighbors that came through the second open house on the second house. So that will be 4 transactions in one neighborhood from us off of one open house. We've gotten a new buyer, a family that is relocating from Germany. They found us on Google for specializing in relocations and military benefits. And another one came in as a referral. The agent had originally placed her with somebody, and the client wanted to interview a couple other people. So she sent them our way, and we ended up winning them over. So we picked them up, competing with interviews. So those are all wins for us in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah. I'm hearing process, specialization, lead sources, communication of value, referral sourcing, deploying the creativity on those open houses, neighborhood farming or market density in an area. So huge growth for a very new team. Really, really good stuff. John, did you have one?
Yeah, and good job, Rebecca. You guys crushed these open houses. That's awesome. Mine's just real quick. I'm getting my database like super leaned up. I'm putting crap in ponds that I just don't want in front of me. But kind of the coolest thing is I'm doing like the beta click to call on Real Geeks. And I'm loving it. It is, for me personally, it's something I've wanted since Real Geeks started, and that's just really helped me to kind of get over my block. Not that I didn't make calls, but just consistently. It's just been amazing. So I've been hitting the phones really hard. It's been motivating me to do that. And, it's just so I can kind of be laser focused on the people that I'm following up with. Kind of got Mojo dialed. So just a process in place for calling and following up with these web leads. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And,
those of you that don't know, he's just talking about it. The integrated dialer with Real Geeks is in beta right now. It's pretty basic, but it's basically just allowing click to call within the lead profile or whatever you want to call it. It's also allowing click to call on a custom search results list. So it's not multi-line. There's not a ton of different dispositioning stuff, but it's click to call, sort a list, click to call, automate notes. And that alone for a lot of us will get you over the hump and make it a little simpler, a little more organized. That's true of a lot of different dialing systems, but it's nice to have it integrated. So yeah, we're liking it too. We're still actually looking at new dialers for multi-line and some other stuff and hoping that Real Geeks eventually gets there. but we're liking it too. So we agree. What else? You good, John?
I'm good. I mean, I got all kinds of good stuff, but people don't
Keep it
have time.
coming. Keep it
Tyler
coming.
was that's truly like what I'm most stoked about is just getting my freaking database in line because it was. I know some of you have thousands and thousands, but I have like 1,000. I'm like, I can't follow up with all this crap like myself. So just getting that leaned up and getting fellow dialed in as well. All of that. That's just to me, it's just kind of the biggest weight off of my shoulders here, and I'm making these calls consistently. So that will
Nice.
translate. And
That may be the biggest brag, that last one. Good stuff. All right,
Yep.
one more brag. Who's got a brag that would encourage the group that your brain needs to hear your mouth say out loud?
I do.
Let's hear it, sister.
Okay, I went down the Google business page rabbit hole a few days ago and just went through all of it and redid a whole bunch of stuff internally that's just not even visible. And I built a lot of it in ChatGPT to make sure all the keywords and wording were right. And that afternoon got a listing appointment that I wouldn't have gotten just by cleaning that up and having it present better and the ads go through.
Sweet. You're talking about your public Downing Fry deal?
Yeah, just like Chris, I think it's now Chris Griffith, PA,
Yep.
because Google was being stinky about, it matching my license. And I was just like, well, fine, we're going to play all your games. And I don't know, I've been working a lot on, cleaning a lot of stuff up with AI in the back end. And a lot of my pages that I've rebuilt are just totally crushing. And, Google Biz and a lot of the other profiles and all the results that come through AI and incognito windows. I'm finding these directory sites and building out my profiles on them, even though I don't own them. I just claim the profile because they're showing on AI and having AI build however many characters of the profile that they're demanding. So I'm just fleshing out stuff all over the place and it's really starting to pop off.
Yeah, I love it. We had a strategy call, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago when we talked about every single possible public profile that you could claim and complete, you should. Now,
Mhm.
I think it might be worth a strategy call, Chris, where you explain a little bit of how you're doing that. I understand what you're saying as far as character limits and fitting
Mhm.
a bio or a profile and matching, but it might be constructive to everyone if you share that and share what's working for the rest of us back with you. Might be a
Mhm.
good one just to do a whole call on profiles as a whole and how you're using AI to find the unclaimed ones and
Mhm.
all that good stuff.
Because I don't even know about some of these, but either my competitors are showing up and it's showing me like, Todd is like #1 and this website says so. I'm like, what the hell website is that?
Right.
So
Yep.
like, and one of them yesterday, I couldn't find a way to even, well, it said somebody else's name that used to be on my team, like, and I was like, oh, I got to get rid of that. And I couldn't even log in. So I accidentally found a way to claim it. But that was one of the ones that was producing top results. So anyhow, there's ways out there. We just got to dig up. And the really cool thing about what's been happening is that agents are using AI to write, but not training the AI right. So like,
Right.
they're linking to my website, like, because I'm an authority on, like, they're asking, Chat GPT or whatever to build their content. And it's like, well, here, if you're going to say these keywords, this is the expert in the area. And so I'm getting backlinks from people.
Yep. That's hilarious. Very cool. Good work. And we'll deep dive into that
Okay.
probably pretty soon here. Okay. Strategy for today. I say this from time to time because I actually appreciate a simple strategy more than a complicated one. As simple as it can be, as complex as it needs to be, is one of my philosophies of life and business. As simple as it can be, as complex as it needs to be. So this is a simple idea, complex in implementation. So don't bail when you hear the strategy. Stick around for implementation. Basically, the question today is how well are you currently using social proof in your marketing, in your brand building, in your reputation growth, in your lead gen, in your referral getting and building and conversion. So the strategy is social proof marketing. I would like to see a show of hands. If you can go camera on, great. If not, don't get in a wreck. When is the last time, who's been inside the social proof marketing course in your membership site in the last 90 days? Okay, so Fernando hasn't been in there yet. Looks like Ed hasn't been in there yet. Jeff hasn't been in there yet. Brian hasn't been in there in 90 days. Chris hasn't been in there in 90 days. Matt hasn't been in there in 90 days. Mark maybe hasn't been in there yet. John hasn't been in there in 90 days. Hopefully you have been in there before. Shameful. All right. So if you've never been in there, right now, I want you to go to your membership site. If you have no idea how to get there, what are you doing with your life? Go to realestategrowthsystems.com. That's our main website for regs. realestategrowthsystems.com. Then click the menu, and the regs member area is linked right there. Now, you should bookmark this some other way. You have an email with your original login and all that if you need that. But go to the regs member area link. It's going to open a page with the picture from Poker Night. Click that giant button, access your member area. If you saved your login, it'll open it for you. If you didn't save your login, you're going to need to track down an email from when you joined. And if you can't find that, email Grady. He'll get you set up. He's going to shame you a little bit along the way because that's what love looks like.
Social proof is where you're going to, right?
Yep. Social proof marketing. So it's labeled social proof and the logo says social proof marketing. That's because somebody was lazy with the label. Okay. Then you open that up and you've got a world of treasures, way more than it looks like, to help you market your business. Doesn't matter if you're marketing to past clients for referrals or strangers for new leads. You should be using this. Does anybody know a more valuable form of marketing than when people who already like you and trust you and know you and have used you tell other people how amazing you are? Anybody getting any better ROI than that? Would anybody rather have to tell your friends and neighbors and strangers how awesome you are? Would you rather tell them yourself how awesome you are versus other people that they already like and trust to tell them how awesome you are? Would anybody like to pay for that versus not having to pay for that? Okay, so we've established that we should all be using social proof marketing in our business. Okay, I love you all, but the fact that you haven't been in this course in a while, or some of you never, shame on you. All right, so we're past the shame. Now we're to let's freaking get after it. Okay, so Chris was just talking about cleaning up her profile with reviews that are getting her listings. Anybody else getting any listings from reviews or buyers from reviews? Okay, great. We have like 850 5-star reviews. This is a really big part of our business. But there's way more to this than reviews. I want to focus on one very small part of your social proof marketing strategy today. That is getting third-party reviews, third-party storytelling from happy past clients to anybody but you and capturing it and recording it. So let me explain that differently. Let's play a little hypothetical here. I'm a buyer's agent. I just sold DM a house. She's my client. We had a great time. We got a great deal. It was a great experience. She is thrilled with me. What do most agents do with that reality? They did a
Nothing.
great job. Most agents don't do a great job, but the typical agent did a great job. They have a happy client. What do they do with it?
Nothing. They do
Nothing.
nothing.
Okay, we're all in agreement. The average agent does nothing. Okay, so what do we often do? We're not average agents. What do we typically do? We have a happy past client. What do most of you do when you're on your game?
Ask for referrals.
You ask for a referral, and you
Or
might
ask,
even ask for
ask for a review. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, what if there was a simple strategy to get both of those things and way more out of your happy past client that you could use and reuse for the rest of your life?
You're saying take a video of their experience.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying somewhat close to that. So most of us ask for a Google review. Some of us ask for a referral. Some of us ask for a video. What I want to encourage you to implement is a strategy where someone other than you asks for the audio, the video of them telling their story, and then ask them to convert that to a review and recommendations and introductions and referrals. And then you have the audio and the video of them being interviewed about you. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit in this strategy about how you're going to get more out of it when it's someone other than you asking. Okay. First, let me give you a couple of examples of what can be done with this.
Hi, it's Barbara Corcoran. You know me from Shark Tank, but real estate is near and dear to my heart because I made my fortune there. I'm often asked to comment on the state of the real estate market on radio and television, and I rely on my top agents all over the country to keep me informed. If you haven't talked to Todd Tramonte, you should. Not only does he have his hand on the pulse of the Dallas-Fort Worth real estate market, but he consistently sells homes in less time for over the asking price. Google Todd Tramonte and get the best advice. Hi, it's Barbara.
Okay. Who would like to have a famous person telling everybody that you're amazing? We all would. How many of you have access to Barbara Corcoran? Okay. Susie and Barbara are like best golf buddies. So Susie's going to have that done. I don't actually use Barbara Corcoran's endorsement anymore. How many of you think you actually might be better off with like a really well-respected, super popular, local, influential person doing that for you? I do. I think that. I think a lot of us in our market, the Barbara Corcoran, people either believe or know that it's paid for. It's still really powerful. But what I want to encourage is you can have as much, if not more, success locally than even with the national endorser. So check this out.
Why is Todd Tramonte the only realtor I would ever think of calling if I wanted to buy or sell a home? It's because he's so good at what he does. Listen to this from Joe and Pat. Todd Tramonte and his team made our selling and buying experience the best it could be. His attention to detail, follow-up, and partnership are all my wife and I could ask for. He sold my house in under 2 weeks, found the perfect new house in days, and saved me money. This was the best experience I have had in 7 moves. Now, that's somebody that has gone through a few realtors, and the fact that he knows.
Okay, here's the principle here. How many of you could have somebody other than you simply read and record reviews that you already have? How many of you see how effective and helpful that could be for you? To have a B-roll video, professionally recorded audio, or just uniquely, dynamically human expression of some of your written reviews. How many of you could implement that in the next week? Okay, now check this out.
During Damien and Christine's home search, they found a home that was originally listed at $959,000 and it dropped to $875,000. At Todd Tramonte Home Selling Team's advice, they initially offered at $750,000. Seller tried to get them to go up to $800,000, but Brandon advised them to hold firm. After a few days, the seller came back and asked if they were still interested. On top of getting the seller to the sale price, $209,000 below the original price, Brandon also got the sellers to throw in $5,000 worth of.
Okay. Set aside the fact that that dude is a completely insane person, local radio talent, but he's not even reading a review. He's reading our short story of what happened on a transaction in our words. How would it sound if I promoted what I did in my words? It would sound normal. It would sound fine. It would be okay. But when I have somebody else tell the story of a home run situation with a client, do you think the typical consumer is going to trust it more or less than if I say it? More? Everybody agree? How many of you could implement that in the next week? Find somebody with half decent recording device to put a little energy behind it. Maybe a famous person, maybe a well-known person, but really anybody other than you, to turn some transactional stories, even if you don't have a review, even if you don't still have contact with that client. Now, we're not faking it. We're not lying. We're not misleading, but we're telling the story in the way we want it told, truthfully. We're emphasizing the aspects of the story we want to share and not the ones we don't want to share. I don't mean hiding bad things. I mean, maybe you sold a house in 1 week, but it was only $220,000 and your target price point is $500,000. Well, don't say the price. Tell the story about how quickly you sold the house and how happy the client was. If it's the opposite and you want to talk about the price, but not the time on the market, tell that part of the story. We're not misleading. We're not lying, but we're attracting more of, asking for more of what we want. So one more, here we go.
Why do so many people choose the Todd Tramonte home selling team? Just ask Barry.
Let me tell you about the Todd Tramonte home selling team. They're fantastic. Every one of them are fantastic at what they do.
Now, Barry, you tried one of those flat rate discount places. How did that go?
You know, you get a showing here, a showing there.
And with Todd Tramonte?
I think there was 21, 22 showings that the first weekend and 2 offers on the table, both for well above what I asked.
Okay, so you don't need to hear the whole thing. The point is, how does that sound? A real live person talking to a real live person about how amazing you are, your results, your promise, your guarantee, and then at the end, she's going to make a call to action. How many of you would like to have that regularly in your business?
Me.
Okay, so that's
Is that on your social? Where do you put that, Todd?
Well, we ran those on the radio. We don't have any endorsers on radio right now. I do all my own spots because I have a show. But the answer is we ran those as radio ads. We also turned them into YouTube videos with just some B-roll.
Okay.
And then you can put the audio anywhere. How many of you still have a phone system for an office or anything like that? Even if it's digital, you have some sort of call tree phone routing. Okay. That should be your hold music. But if you have a click to listen on your website, you can have a automated reply, listen to a short 42-second interview with a recent client. There's a lot you could do with that. Now, I want to encourage you to build a system, build a strategy where somebody interviews every single one of your happy past clients and turns that into, at an absolute minimum, 1 piece of content per transaction. We all know if you get a good interview, audio or video, it could be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces of content. But if you'll go into the modules, hold on. Okay, so if you'll, can everybody see my cursor moving around?
Mm-hmm.
Just making sure I'm sharing the right screen with you guys. Okay, so If you go to the social proof course, right? So you open up your membership course, your membership site, you go to social proof. Resume the course. I've already done it many times. All right. So here we are. We have an overview video of what this is about. We have process and principles. We have social media images where I'm sharing what we do. Down here, we have examples of them. Okay. Lots of examples of what we're talking about. We have audio recordings. That's what I'm talking about right now. Okay. Here's a video of me explaining for less than 7 minutes what we're talking about. And then right here, Susie, if you see, these are just a handful of the examples I was playing and some other ones.
Mhm.
Here's some YouTube video versions. And then I gave you lots of bonuses here. This is a video of me explaining to you how to coach someone other than you to interview your happy clients, referral partners, vendors. Okay. Now, there's also formatting, tips, social proof interviews. And that's going to give you some ideas of what to ask and how to ask it. All of this is there for you. So I can't make you do it, but I can tell you that if you will go implement this, it can have a massive impact in your business. So let me explain start to finish the very specific part of that program that I want you to implement, that I want to talk about today. So let's go back to our example. I sold DM a house. She's thrilled. Most of us ask her for a review, maybe a referral, maybe a video. So if I close the deal, I might say, hey, DM, thank you so much for all your feedback and your appreciation. You've been absolutely wonderful. One of the things we do on our team is I have a team member that interviews all of our happy clients. They just want to know, how did we do? They want to know a little bit about how did I do? Would it be okay if I had Grady reach out and schedule a 5 or 10 minute phone or Zoom conversation, whatever you prefer, and just ask you a few questions about how you found us and how the process went and some things you liked? Would you be open to that? Don't ask anybody that you already know is not going to be open to that. Don't ask somebody who you did not enjoy, that you don't want to work with ever again. Ask the people that you liked, that had a good experience, that are kind people. And the goal is to have somebody else. That's probably the most important part. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. How many of you in your local market, you know somebody popular, cool, well-regarded, highly thought of, maybe even like a minor celebrity? Does anybody here know anybody like that? Go ahead, Susie. Who do you know?
There's a team here that it's one guy and 12 girls. They're all blondes. They all wear really short skirts, high boots, low cut, all had their boobs done, all had their faces done. And
Okay.
they do a ton of video. Mhm.
Okay. So probably don't use them because they're another real estate team. But
I mean, they're really, oh, you mean non-real estate?
no, how many of who here, you know someone in your local market that's like really well regarded? Everybody likes them. They would love to have a conversation with that person, and you know them well. You know that
Okay.
popular local
Okay,
celebrity
so
type
I
person.
know a guy that develops all the apps that we use for like concerts and all that. He has a radio show.
Okay, that's a great example. So you know a guy that's local, that's really well regarded, that has a radio.
Right.
You think he's ever looking to make any extra money?
Yeah.
No doubt about it, because people make no money on radio. Okay, so what if you said to him, what's his name?
Ken.
Ken.
Mhm.
Hey, Ken, we're starting to do some really cool stuff with our past client marketing and our content creation. I'm curious if you'd be open to a little side gig that would be totally easy and natural for you, but would be really great for us. Would you be open to calling or jumping on Zoom with some of our past clients and doing like short 10-minute interviews,
He'd love
just
that.
asking them about their experience with us. Hey, Ken, I'll pay you for every 10-minute one you do, whatever you think is fair.
What do you think?
I mean, imagine what is 10 minutes? What if you paid him
But
$100?
what would you pay?
What if you
Like,
paid him
I don't
100
have a
bucks?
clue.
What if you paid him $100
Okay.
and you just said, hey, Ken, all I need you to do is I'll email you the name of the person, their phone number, and their email. I'll give you 3 or 4 or 5 bullet points of things that happened in the transaction that I would like you to draw out of them. And obviously, I just want you to get them to say amazing things about me and tell the world that they'd be crazy not to work with me. Okay. And you can coach him after the first 1 or 2 or 3, and then you got it dialed in, right? Now he's making what, $600 an hour, $100 for 10 minutes. But he's also going to reach out. So here's where it gets magical. DM is now getting an email or a text from famous Ken. She's like, what? Hey, DM, it's Ken Johnson from WKRP in, St.
Cincinnati.
Louis. Yeah, whatever. And Susie Ellis is a wonderful friend of mine. And from time to time, I get a chance to reach out and interview her happy past clients about whether she did a great job with you or not. DM, could I get 10 or 15 minutes of your time in the next week to jump on a recorded phone call or a Zoom just to gather some feedback on how Susie did? Would you be open to that, DM? What is DM going to say every time?
Yes.
Yes.
10 minutes.
Remember, DM knows who Ken is. DM thinks Ken is really cool and amazing. Would you do that, DM?
Yes, I would.
Now, when you're talking to Ken about Susie, and Ken is kind of cool and well known, are you going to say more or less than you would normally say?
More.
Are you going to say better or worse than you would normally say?
Better.
Are you going to be more bubbly or less bubbly than you would normally be?
More bubbly.
Are you going to be more open with Ken or more open directly with Susie?
Probably with Ken.
Does everybody see the magic here? Okay, now let's be realistic. Who here does not know a local celebrity of any kind? Okay, Ed. All right, Ed, go ahead and unmute. Let's figure this out for you. Okay. I'm gonna list a bunch of people, and you tell me which one is most likely to be fun, bubbly, dynamic. Okay. One of your parents, your spouse, one of your kids.
Kids.
Okay. Which one of your kids would be like, have a bunch of fun with this?
My youngest daughter.
How old is she?
She's 21.
Perfect. Okay. So would she do this for 50 or $100 a pop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
What's her name?
Micah.
Micah. Okay. Hey, DM, this is Micah, Ed's daughter. And from time to time, I get a chance to interview my dad's clients and make sure he's doing a really great job. Is there any chance in the next week you would have 10 or 15 minutes where you and I could jump on a Zoom call or a recorded phone call, and I could just ask and make sure that my dad did a great job for you, and have you tell me a little bit of your story so that we could use that in future marketing for new clients? Would you be open to that, DM?
Yes, I don't want to say no to a kid.
Yeah. And if you're talking to Ed's daughter, are you going to be more positive or less positive?
More positive.
More animated or less animated?
More.
More open with Ed's daughter or directly with Ed?
With his daughter.
Does anybody feel like there's no way you could do this?
Yeah.
Now, just think if you systematize this, and every time you have a closing and you like the client, you put together a short bulleted list. And Ed says, hey, Micah, I got another one. New client, just closed, super happy. His name is Brian Reed. Here's the 5 bullet points. Had a different agent, Total disastrous experience. Wasted a lot of time. Met with me at the office. Had real skepticism and questions about timeline. Looked at 4 houses, made an offer on one, bought it $22,000 below asking price, $24,000 below appraisal price, and already introduced us to a coworker who's also going to buy. Please get them to talk about those things and anything else they want to say about us. Make sure they mention our guarantee to save $5,000 and how they saved $24,000 and anything else you can get them to say. Now, Micah goes, cool, easy enough. She calls DM. They jump on the call. She's like, okay, DM, just totally relax. By the way, I have a video telling you how to train your interviewer. I just showed you where it was. Hey, hey, DM, this is Micah. My dad is Ed. I'm so glad you're taking some time to talk to me today. I have to make sure that my dad is taking really good care of his clients. So I'm recording. Don't worry about anything you say you don't like. We can edit it out. And anything you say that you really, really like, we'll make sure we include that. But just relax. Tell me really quickly, how did your experience go with my dad? And then you get the whole story. Hey, is it true, DM, that you actually had another agent and that experience was really bad? Would you tell me about that in your own words? Hey, the numbers I have here, DM, is that you were able to get this house $22,000 below asking price and $24,000 below the appraisal price. Is that true? Okay, great. Would you tell me a little bit about that in your own words? DM, how many homes have you bought before? How many agents have you worked with? Was this the best experience you've ever had? Great. Would you tell me more about that? Who thinks this would be really hard for Micah to do? Not very hard. Who thinks you'll get some of the best social proof you've ever had? Who thinks this is worth every bit of $50 or $100? Who thinks you should do this?
I gotta find my person
Yeah.
to call.
By the way, I think some of the best would be like your mom, especially if your mom's old, but not so old that this is hard. And if your mom was like, now, sweetheart, I need to know that Ed is taking care of his clients. Did he do a good job for you? You tell me if he didn't. Now, if he did, he's amazing. You tell me how amazing. Like, could you imagine that? So everybody's got somebody, a kid, a family member, a spouse, grandma, mom, your pseudo famous friend, the mayor, the radio person, the local morning news. All these people would like to make an extra $200-300 a month, a week, doing something super easy that you're going to totally set them up for. Now, I got to be honest, I'm feeling convicted about this because we've done this forever, but we're actually not doing this right now. And the reason I'm sharing it with you is because I'm recently realizing we need to get back to doing this. We don't have any radio personalities right now because one station got sold and one radio personality got fired. Like it's just, that's the evolution, but we need to get back to doing this and we're going to. So any questions about that specific strategy right now? We have the rest of this call for me to answer questions or explain. What do you say? What do you ask? How do you do it? Would this person be good? Which clients do you do this for? What do I do with it after I've recorded it? So feel free to ask questions or comment. But first, I'd like to ask John, because I see that he's on now. Johnny K, when you have had clients come to us inbound from these types of things, tell people, like, what is that experience like? What is that client like? What are some of the things they say when they've had a chance to have a great experience, be interviewed about their experience, or even clients that came from hearing from others? What do you think?
They jump in completely sold on us, ready to go, ready to move forward. I mean, it's when other people are sort of blowing our horn for us and doing all that kind of stuff, the result is more about how soon can we get on the market and get things going and moving forward.
Yeah, it's usually a lay down. They're like,
Right.
This sounds incredible. I've heard from you. I've heard from your website. I've read all your stuff. I saw a cool person talking to another person. I believe that was real. It sounded authentic. Stop talking. Where do I sign?
Yes, I mean
Right.
it's more like just walking through our process as opposed to even trying to pitch it to them. They're just pretty much like, sounds good, sounds good. We've been hearing you guys for years on the radio, been hearing this, heard this, interview, heard this, heard all the things that we get the reviews, they've read it. We send them that thing up front about our process. Even that is not as doesn't even need to be as walkthrough as much because they've even looked at some of that already. And so it's like a complete just walk in, great to meet you, let's move forward and let's go.
So what about when you've asked your past clients, hey, would you be open to having Bonnie Curry or Chris Kroc or Frank Reed reach
Uh,
out?
my clients have been very responsive to that with Bonnie and um, uh, Chris Kroc. They were more than happy to go on the radio and just tell the world about how great we were doing, the experience, the outcome, the results we promised them that we delivered, and just totally recommending us as a
Yeah.
team.
So there's two ways to look at that. Some of you are like, well, yeah, if you have a famous radio personality, but let me be clear with you. Some people are actually more intimidated by that because they're like, I don't want to be on the radio. I don't want to do Zoom. I don't want people to see me. So there's pros and cons to everything, but you do not need a famous radio personality, but they're actually easier to get than you'd think, especially if you don't need them on radio. You're like, I just want you to do a Zoom or recorded phone call. Some people will say, I don't want to be on video. Say, hey, no problem. We just do a recorded audio. Some people are like, I'd be happy to. You could schedule an in-person if you have a world-class client and they're really worth it and your interviewer is willing. You can do a really darn good video with an iPhone and a lav mic now, or you can bring a film crew out or whatever if it's valuable enough. But this is
I've even asked my clients, hey, if I can I use you as someone that I'm talking with and working with and want to hear someone else I've worked with or their experience, and no problem. Feel free to give them my number. I'd be happy to tell them how great everything was.
Yeah. So the magic for this strategy is it's somebody other than you. Now, it's not a telemarketer. It's not like, hey, this is Todd from realtorreviews.biz. And I'm supposed to give you a call about a recent transaction at 123 Main Street with Fernando Valle. I don't know. It's not an unknown stranger. It's someone that has a little uniqueness, a little charm, a little cute factor, cool factor, fun factor that person being interviewed is going to be even more inclined to just gush, tell the truth, but be a raving fan. When they knew, if they were a listener to KLTY, the biggest Christian radio station on the planet, and we told them, would it be okay if Bonnie Curry, the 24-year afternoon and morning show host, called you and they're like, are you serious? That's amazing. Yeah, totally. I'm totally. Some people would be a little intimidated. You say you don't have to do anything to prepare. So anyway, that's what you can do. But you can also do it with your mom or your kid or your cousin or the mayor or the whatever, I don't know, local super well-known charity manager, whatever. You can all see where we're going here. What other questions or comments or clarifications do you have, or how can I help one of you develop this for your business? Brian, do y'all have your radio talent interview your past clients?
No, but I mean, one of them would do that all day.
Yeah, and you shouldn't have to pay any extra if you're already doing an endorsement with them, but even if you need to, do it. But yeah, if you've never done that, I think you absolutely need to do it. I don't know if you remember, but Matt played like 5 examples of ours at one of the rate masterminds because he thought it was brilliant that we were doing this. We had been doing it for years. Seemed like a no-brainer, but it's in the training course. You can get in there and see the whole, we call it the journey motif. The ideal story is like a movie. It follows. I took a class in college called feature film writing, is where I really learned this, but we all know this instinctively because the best stories follow it. You have a little character creation, little character introduction. You have a journey that's laid out. Okay, we're going on a journey. Then you have some sort of crisis. Then you overcome the crisis and there's a hero. And then you sail off into the sunset happily ever after. That's kind of how we want these social proof stories to be. Hey, Brian, how did you find Fernando? Oh, one of my good friends told me that he was the best agent that ever lived, and I had had a really terrible experience with another agent. Great. Well, how did the process go? It was great. I met him. I really liked him. Were there any challenges? Well, actually, there were. The other agent wouldn't call us back and lied, but Brian was so amazing. He drove over to the office and knocked on the door and met with the broker and solved it all. Oh, wow. He really went the extra mile. Yeah, he did. He's the best ever. And then, Fernando, I heard that you got a house for $40,000 less than a very similar house sold for 1 week ago on the same street. That did happen. Don't tell those neighbors. They're going to hate me. Oh, that's so funny. You're the best. Fernando, would you use Brian again? Oh my gosh, I would never use anybody else. Anybody that uses anybody but Brian's a complete, utter blundering moron. That's funny, Fernando. You're so right. I recommend, that story arc, that journey motif. That's what we want. And we can train our interviewer to get that out of them. And we can give them interview style questions, record them, and then edit that later into a pretty one, a short one, a mid one, a long one, an extra long one, 3 or 4 different versions of each. And now you have audio, video, B-roll compilations, short snippets, hold music, website stuff, email signature stuff, email and texting out prospecting, email campaign, text campaign materials. Everybody see what I'm talking about? This is not rocket science. So, Brian, I would have your radio talent do this right away. Who else already knows how you're going to implement this? Who would like some help figuring it out? Unmute, jump in. I'm here to help.
I don't know who my person would be. My kid is not old enough to call.
How many of your clients come from your kids' school?
Like a lot.
Who's the most popular teacher or staff member at that school?
The principal.
Principal might be tough. I would totally ask, but they might. There's a little bit of politics in education, so they might not be willing. But what if the principal would do it?
You think she would do it?
I don't think she would do it. I don't think she should
I
do
don't
it.
think
But if
she would
she
do
would
it
do
either.
it, I would want her to do it.
I was like, I don't think she would do it either.
But a really popular teacher would.
Okay. I guess especially if I'm going to pay them like $100 per call.
Yeah, or 50. I mean, it doesn't have to be 100. I'm just saying you could go $100 and it would still be worth every penny.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, if it really is 10 or 15 minutes, that's $400 to $600 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're not really counting the time it might take them to email and schedule the call or reschedule if they can't, so, maybe it's $200 now. It doesn't matter. It's going to be awesome money for whoever this is.
So if they do it via Zoom, I guess they record a Zoom video and then that's what you would get?
Yeah. And then you can edit it or have it edited or record the phone call with a simple phone call recording app.
Uh-huh.
Text it to you or email it to you or Dropbox it. That's not the hard part.
Right.
Now, let's assume the school won't work out just because there's maybe a policy on that or whatever. How many of your transactions are in Van Alstyne?
I don't know on top of my head. I don't know.
Or in one specific geographic.
Anna, I have a lot in Anna.
Yeah, okay. Who's the mayor of Anna?
I actually don't like him.
Okay, he's probably a real estate agent. Most of them are. You see where I'm getting though? Who's well known? Who's well liked?
I like the mayor that was resigned or he's done serving, the last mayor.
Well, maybe it's him. My point is, who is someone that other people would be like, oh, wow, that's really cool. Now, your kids are too young.
Yeah.
Your husband's kind of part of the business now, but you could still probably make that work. Hey, this is Bobby Goldman. Now, I know you worked with DM and she usually does a good job, but it's my job to make sure that she is really blowing it out of the water for you. And now they're like, Bobby, she was amazing. And then they feel like they need to, brag, prove Bobby that you were amazing. Like that would be easy. And he's very relational. That would work. But if he starts to get too involved in the business, then maybe it's somebody else. Do you have a close friend that would want to do it? It's like, hey, I'm, whatever. Carla, DM's really, really good friend. And I like to make sure that DM's taking great care of people. Now, you don't ever want them to ask They never ask, what could DM have done better? I'm not asking for feedback.
Mhm.
I'm asking you to tell this amazing story. I have notes on how amazing it was. Now, if they say something less than ideal, we can edit it out.
Mhm. Okay.
But Bobby would be fine. For now, I would use Bobby until you find someone better, because I would want to get to this. Half the time we edit the other person out. Half the time we want to hear the whole interview style story. If there was like a local, sometimes there's like a itty bitty local TV shows, like on a Sunday afternoon, it's like, get to know the Valley, get to know North Texas, whatever. Find the person that's the host of that and ask them if they want to make some money. They do. They always do. But then you want to explain to them exactly what you want. Watch the video of me telling you what to tell them. Create an interview sheet, give them the bulleted points and the summary of the deal, and tell them, I really want to emphasize this. Draw this out of them. Super simple. Just need to put it in place. And then, who has questions about how to turn this into a system? Anybody? All right, Jeff. Do you have a transaction checklist of any kind?
Yep.
Are you responsible for all of it?
Somebody is, not me.
Who is it?
Her name's Wendy.
Okay. So
Yep.
we add this to the checklist, like after everything is decided, maybe before closing though. And what's her name? Wendy?
Yeah.
Wendy would just simply say, hey, DM, one of the next steps in our process to make sure that everything is totally taken care of for you is to hear your story and give you an opportunity to tell your story to the world. Remember when you didn't know Jeff? And aren't you so glad now that you met Jeff? There's a bunch of people out there that would like to consider using us, but they don't even know we exist yet. So we would love to give you an opportunity to tell your story so that people like that can have great, incredible service like Jeff gives. I'd like to set up a time for you to put you on a quick call or a Zoom, but here's the cool part, DM. It's going to be with Ken from the local radio station. Do you know Ken? Have you ever heard him? Yeah, he's so amazing. And he and Jeff are buddies, and he likes to interview people and just let them tell their story about how great Jeff is. If I had Jeff reach out to you to schedule a time for just 10 or 15 minutes, so now it's part of your checklist, Jeff.
Okay.
So simple. And then you have that person schedule it, and Wendy would check in. Hey, Ken, did you get a chance to schedule with DM yet? Do you need any help connecting the dots there? Because every once in a while, they're like, yeah, I can't get a call back. You're like, oh, shoot, we had the bad number. And then you ask Ken, you build a system. Okay, after you record that, just text it to me. If those files are too big, hey, here's a shared Dropbox file we set up. Just go drop it in there and you don't have to do anything else. And then you have a little checklist. Okay, send it to the editor or send it to me and I'll edit it. And then you train the editor a little bit. Hey, this is we don't want these comments. We want these comments. We want a long one, a short one, a mid one. And then whoever does your posting, you or anybody else, this is under 1 minute. That's good for whatever, reels and lives and all that stuff. If you haven't gotten a review from them yet, then after they've done this, you say, man, this is really wonderful. Would you also be willing to turning that into just a short text review on Google? And if you're willing to do more than that, do Google and Zillow, all that stuff. So they're actually willing and wanting to do more because they just kind of got this high of talking to your unique, cool, interesting, fun person. And they're going to eat it up if it's your daughter. And then you put into your system a little thank you note to them from the team, but really from your daughter. Thanks for trusting my dad and our team and taking some time to talk to me. Everyone here wants to tell you how wonderful you are and how grateful we are for you with a little bitty gift. You just create this cycle of gratitude where they're thanking you, you're thanking them for thanking you, they're thanking you for thanking them for thanking you, and it feels like it's never going to end, and everybody just loves and is so grateful for each other. Any other questions, comments, thoughts on social proof marketing, but specifically somebody other than you gathering the social proof, the journey motif, the story of their success about you, not you, someone else about you?
I just want to clarify on one thing, Todd. Like, so you are having this person, celebrity or whatever, calling your clients, or you are talking to your clients first and saying, hey, would you have a minute to do a video? And then you're putting in touch with that person.
It doesn't matter either way. It just
Yeah.
depends on how your process works. We would say if John was their agent on our team,
Yep.
and he knew he had a really great client, and he was like, this is a home run. He knew our system. So he would just say, hey, would you be willing to speak with Bonnie Curry from KLTY, where you came to us from?
Right.
She's going to reach out and schedule a time with you. And then you guys will just be on the phone or Zoom for 10 to 15 minutes. Sometimes it's only 5. She's just going to ask you how your experience went. She likes to make sure that we're doing a good job. And of course, we'd like to record that so we can use it in our marketing. Would you be open to that? Yeah, great. Okay, we'll be looking for a text or an email from Bonnie. She'll find a time that works for both of you. And then they're going to get a text or an email, and Bonnie's going to say, hey, John told me that he's already talked to you. I can't wait to chat with you. Would Tuesday at 4:00 work? Can you do Zoom? Okay, great. Can you just do a recorded call? Okay, great. I'll reach out then. And then on our team, Robert would help John gather the story, send her those bullet points, send her some nuggets and stats and things that to draw out of them. Then Bonnie would do it, and she would send us the recording.
Gotcha.
Then that
Cool.
would go to Robert or Courtney, get dealt with, and then it would get distributed. But none of this is rocket science. You can do it all yourself with that other person's help.
Gotcha.
Is this helpful? Does everybody feel like you could implement this pretty quickly and it would be a big differentiator in your market? Now, by the way, if you are in a small market with a dedicated radio station, it might be worth doing this on radio. And I'd be happy to talk to you about thinking through that. But in bigger markets, it's pretty tough, and you could spend a lot of money and get yourself in a lot of trouble. But I'm happy to share whatever we have with mastermind members. All right, folks, get out there and sell some houses, but never, ever, ever forget all the strategy, all the brilliance, all the content, all the marketing in the world is not as critical as loving on your clients, just going way out of your way to serve your clients. And if you do that, then all these other strategies work better. They're more fun. There's more results, and you'll sleep a lot better at night knowing that you're laying it on the line for your people. So do that. I'll talk to you very soon. Over now.